Hello and welcome to Daily Blues here on 100% Chelsea. All the latest transfer news and gossip. Unfortunately, Eunice can't be here today. He's got a family event. But it is me, Tony and Daniel and maybe Big Tom joining us later. Say hello, boys.
Hello. How you doing?
So, obviously, some of us have watched the game. 0-0 between Arsenal and Liverpool. Thoughts, boys? How do you think that sets us up?
I mean, I'll go first. I think definitely it was quite an entertaining game. I think Liverpool have got a lot of positives to take from it because, that's probably the most solid defensively I've seen Liverpool for quite a while. Even that kid, Rossiter, I think, who they brought on later, came in and done the job in defensive midfield. So I guess from their aspect, I know probably you look at it and go, why didn't they take their chances? But Czech pulled out some great saves. And I think Liverpool probably usually get battered at Arsenal, so it's a good positive for them that they're able to be solid at the back. But Arsenal, were shocking in that first half, and I think one thing I noticed, you can say the big positive for them was Czech, but the big negative was no clinical striker, and I think that's going to affect them. I think they need, because in these big games, they got lucky because Czech will help them out in defence and make those big saves. But if you ain't got someone up front who's going to bash it in, then you're going to draw a load of games, and Arsenal need to win these big games. So, I guess there's positives and negatives for both sides, but I guess there's more positives for Liverpool, just the fact that they could keep a clean sheet, and they actually haven't conceded a goal yet this season, which, is pretty impressive for Brendan Rodgers' side.
What about you, Time?
Well, everyone looked at Liverpool's fixtures, didn't they, when they were first published, and said, taxi for Brendan, He's done all right, hasn't he? First 3 games. That's a good point for them, actually, isn't it? And by all accounts, I'm not going to sit here and say I watched it, because I didn't. I sporadically watched it, if you like. But apparently the woodwork got spanked a few times, both sides, and Agent Czech wasn't doing his job today, which is not good. I should have to have a word with him later.
Well, if you ask me, I thought it was a pretty average game. I watched it, but I wasn't really paying much attention. Nothing was really happening, and it was all in the park. Boring James Milner was playing, so what else can you say? But it was an all right game. Obviously it sets us up well for what we need. Sort of shows what could be happening on the red side of Liverpool and the red side of London. But I think we should be all right. Now, as the title says, has the Stones to Chelsea collapsed? I haven't heard anything in particular about this, but I think, Tony, you've got some stuff on that, haven't you, mate?
Yeah, only what I obviously picked up, through the Chelsea News 24 page, if you like. The Deputy Chairman, John Woods, has basically come out and said, under no circumstances whatsoever will we be selling him to Chelsea, and that Bill Kenwright is the main guy there, feels exactly the same. So no matter what basically Chelsea bid, Everton won't be selling and won't be accepting. And I've read a few places that Jose Mourinho's made a call to Madrid to find out basically how much they'd be tempted for Varane. So maybe the Stone situation isn't going to happen, boys.
Well, I think Varane would be a good call. He's solid. He's proven himself at the top level. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I have heard that story. I think I have heard things from Everton about Martinez, and also the club speaking about how it's out of order. Chelsea is speaking about our player. But they were openly speaking about Romelu Lukaku last year before they bought him. Martinez in press conferences was talking about it. So, for him to have beef this year because we're talking about Stones is a bit hypocritical on his part. And also that when Martinez is coming out and going, well, why are they bidding? He's not for sale. You do realise clubs can still bid for your players even if you say they're not for sale. They're still allowed to do that. There's nothing against that. But yeah, I mean, I've stuck to, at least in my opinion, I've stuck to a thing all through these daily blues and also just through the summer of I think if we hit 35 million, I think Everton will give us John Stones. But the more, like, especially after coming out of the game yesterday, I felt that his price is probably going to go up. Looking at our defending and looking at the fact we've got John Terry out for 2 games, 2 or 3 games, however many it is. I think that his price will probably go up the worse we defend, of course. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, at first, a couple of weeks ago, I thought maybe a week ago, I thought yeah, this deal's going to happen. But maybe now it's a little bit less. But I still think I'm still confident if Chelsea can hit 35 and above. I think like lower than maybe 38 million. I think John Stones will come to Chelsea.
Yeah, it's finding that middle ground, isn't it, between what we want and what they want. But I don't know. I don't think the deal will get over the line. I think Everton, they're standing on their offer. This is what they want. This is what they would think they'll get. Tone, what's your take on it? Do you think?
I think they take 40 million. But the point is, do we really want to be spending 40 million? It's just dragged on and on, isn't it? It's just getting on my nerves a little bit now. This whole sort of, it could be counter bluff, couldn't it? It could be again their way of trying to prize a few more mil. I'll be interested to know where Roberto Martinez is going to get these 3 players from. I believe that's what he said after the game against Manchester City. So he must be hoping on getting some funds from somewhere.
And that will be
obviously. Well, I put 2 and 2, 2 and 2 together, and basically thought that they'd be using the money that we give for Stones. But of course, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. I mean, it might just all be bluff, and they might do the deal. But I think I know you say 35, Dan. I think it's almost like they want to see how far we'll go. They know we're in a bit of a desperate situation. It's getting close, isn't it? And we do need a centre back. There's no 2 ways about it,
Yeah, I mean, I think
I'd rather have Varane, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think, say for instance, if Chelsea get the indication from Everton or just of anything that they think, well, Everton ain't going to take any money here, they're going to want ridiculous money. I think Jose will probably think to himself, come on, we could probably get Varane cheaper, and he's a better player. He's played at a higher level, played for a better team. He could probably think to himself, well, I could get a better deal here. It's just a fact. I mean, English players come at premium. You could probably get a player like Varane cheaper.
Yes.
Zuma and Varane, though. How about that as a centre-back partnership?
Well, I mean, it sounds tastier, doesn't it? Much tastier. Actually, someone, a good friend of mine, actually, is obviously watching.
French connection, though.
Yeah. Absolutely. He basically said, if we'd have bid 32 million for Stones a few weeks ago, the deal would probably be done by now. But now it's getting closer, of course. Price goes up.
Panic buy situation. I mean, speaking of centre backs, we got Varane and we got John Stones. We only went and signed Pedro. It said he's made. It could be an interesting call. Just recall Callas. And I mean, he's already integrated. He played well for us a couple of seasons ago against Liverpool, didn't he? He's pretty solid. I mean, do you think he could slot in there, or do you think signing Stones or Varane would probably prove better for us?
Well, I'd like, as I said, I'd like us to push up further. Yeah, so I'd like, I mean, like I said, at some point we're going to have to talk about this whole, backline situation, i.e. Terry and Cahill. But we've still got a Vanovic can play in that position temporarily. Well, it's true, isn't it? And Aspilicueta can go where he's supposed to be, where he's supposed to be, and then obviously we can play Baba on the left, But so we have got options. It's not like we're stuck, But obviously, we've been tracking Stones for a long time now, and it's just dragging now, isn't it? If I was Chelsea, I'd just say, look, I'll tell you what, this is our final offer. Take it or leave it. Because what happens is we could carry on with this now for another 5-6 days, and it could be,
At
You
least,
know,
if they can find out within the next few days,
yeah.
as I said before, if they can find out if it ain't gonna happen, then it ain't gonna happen. Then you can spend your time the last week, not even week. I mean, literally, yeah, it is about a week trying to get Varane. I mean, which I
You
think
get
would
better
be,
value, don't you,
yeah.
overseas? You know, so
Mm.
I mean, we could probably pick Varane up for 30, couldn't we?
Could do, but I think the fact that he's from Real Madrid, I think last time we did it and we looked into it, it was 45 million they
Oh,
wanted.
was it? Okay.
Yeah. So even if John Stones is at a premium for an English player, he is the same, well, roughly the same age as Varane. Even though Varane has more experience, I think having that English touch or that English edge in the Premier League, where we've got the whole quota for English players, might actually help us. But I think I've been reading the comments. Some people have been saying, France will thank us in 10 years, for a Zuma and Varane partnership, and I do agree with that. But it's
Do you think, though, boys? Yeah. I mean, perhaps this should be another debate for another day, because I imagine this will go on and on and on and on and on. Maybe we should wait till Eunice comes back. But there's got to be some point where we talk about John Terry and Gary Cahill, and in particular John Terry.
yeah. JT is aging. At the end of the day, there always comes a time when you need to hang up your boots. And I
Maybe
don't
it's
I don't I
on
don't
for
think
another day. Maybe
yeah
I don't know.
that is. But I don't. In my opinion, I don't think JT's past it. We can't say that yet. I mean,
No,
he's had a couple of
no.
bad games, and that sort of what we're talking about JT is interesting. But I'm guessing we'll get some of your questions in now. So let's have a look. If you guys, bring them through so we can answer them for you. But while we wait, in terms of other transfer news, have we heard anything interesting, on our behalf?
Uh,
Pogba, has anything happened there, or is there all? Are
I
there?
don't think there's anything on Pogba. I mean, I was listening to a show on Sky, this Sunday Supplement, which is a really good show. I like. You get journalists on there talking about transfers and all of that, and they did say that Pogba, Chelsea are interested in him, but of course it's how far Chelsea are going to go, and it doesn't. I mean, I did see something from Bleacher Report this morning that Chelsea could be going to the end of the deadline, but Chelsea are interested. I think it's a little bit down the same line as, say, Manchester United being interested in Neymar. It's
Mm.
just you can put an interest in there, but if the club ain't willing to sell, then you're kind of stuck there. I think we've got a better chance of signing Pogba but Man U have a chance of signing Neymar. So you have that. I guess we maybe got a little bit excited last night because we heard that there's a better chance of him coming, but saw today on the Telegraph that apparently Chelsea and West Ham are in talks for Victor Moses.
Yeah, but I also heard Aston Villa between 5 and 10 million. That's on the Villa, one of the Villa web pages, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.
What did the Telegraph say in terms of transfer values then, Dan?
Well, I just saw the story. I mean, I think at the moment, I mean, I'm not entirely sure. They didn't really put a number out there, but I think that I suppose Moses, like, the thing is how much a team like West Ham be willing to pay. Because I mean, West Ham, yeah, I don't understand on the side. I know Victor Moses isn't a striker. If they're going to spend money on an attacker, why don't they go and spend it on, say, like a Charlie Austin? Like,
Yeah.
but I don't think I wouldn't even be surprised if Victor Moses goes out on loan. In my opinion. I mean, but I don't know why we put him out on loan as well. Because I mean, with these players, yeah, let's be honest. Do we ever think Victor Moses is actually going to get given a chance? He impressed in pre-season. He hasn't started this season. He's right winger. I mean, the Telegraph are saying 7 million, but a potential 7 million. I think if you're gonna, which is gonna, what was it, less than we paid for him first from Wigan, I think it was, when we bought him,
We're
but
going for £13 million.
13 million. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that. But I just think we should sell probably Victor Moses because he's never going to get a chance. I mean, certain players, I think we should just sell them now because it's just like try and make some sort of profit with them if you're never going to play them. Because Victor Moses, it's like you can only loan these players for so much, and their value is going to decrease every year you loan them.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I think you're right. Now we've brought in Pedro, he's not going to get a chance, is he? I mean, if we do bring in Pogba, I know it's all gone a bit quiet, but you know, if we do bring in Pogba, Fabregas will probably move forward, and then Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Pogba will probably challenge each other for that position. Matic and I don't know Mikel or Ramirez or someone will challenge for the two holding mid position. So you've got four players there. I think Willian might be, even if he's a star in the Chelsea team, maybe contesting with Pedro. And then on the left hand side, Hazard, Bertrand Traore, but there's really no contest there. Down the middle you've got Fabregas and Oscar. So I think it's a case of we do need to bring in that midfielder to strengthen, but I do think it. I think it is. I do feel bad for Victor Moses. I mean, the guy had an excellent pre-season for us, didn't he? And he played well. I mean, what's your take on it, Tony? I mean, the whole Victor Moses thing. Do you think it's time for him to go? Do you think he needs to be given a chance?
Oh, well, it's been brilliant in pre-season, which is it's all a bit of a shame, really. Probably our best player at pre-season, wasn't he? But I have to agree with Dan. I don't mean to be horrible, but obviously I want slightly better.
If they can go into the budget to sign Pogba, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
To sign Varane, you know what I mean? You've got to make.
It's a bit ruthless, but it's.
Yeah, but we got to improve the squad. I was thinking this. We've got to improve our squad depth. I mean, you've got to get players in who come in and make a difference. I think Victor Moses, had a good preseason in a pretty terrible preseason. So I guess maybe he was, maybe just isn't Chelsea quality really, and that's a shame really, because I mean, it's just players, they come to a club like Chelsea and I think people underestimate how different it is playing for a club like Wigan, playing for a club like even Everton. I spoke about this with we had a debate. I think it was Friday. We were talking about. Remember when we had that kind of heated discussion? It was me. I think me and Lou were talking about like De Bruyne and the players that we'd sold, and they were talking about Lukaku, and Lukaku was one of those players that, although I know people rate Lukaku very highly, I think there's a big difference between playing for a club like Everton and playing for a club like Chelsea. Just the pressure and the way teams set up against you, completely different. So it's sad, but we've got to improve the squad, and that right wing is now stacked. So I said before, we only get with Pedro coming in. For me, you've only really got to have three options on that right wing, and with Cuadrado and Moses going out, you're gonna probably have Kennedy, William. Even though William will be competing number 10, but you have three players.
No, but you're right. You're right. I mean, that is an option, isn't it? Because you can bring Fabregas further forward, and and if Oscar's still around, Oscar in that position as well,
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I think we've all agreed here that it is time for Moses to go. But I mean, it's sad to see players like. I mean, there are players that we've brought in over the past that just will keep lining out. And there's one guy here, Lewis Wright. No more loans. We need to sell these players that are never going to make it at Chelsea. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, yeah,
100%.
So, players like Cuadrado, like Salah, Moses. That's three right wingers there.
But for me, I don't get this 1.5 million dry loan. I mean, if that's not a sweetener, then that's a terrible bit of business we've done there.
I think the thing is, I was thinking this earlier today. I was like, Cuadrado is going to go over to Juventus, and he's going to start playing well. And I can bet you there are going to be Chelsea fans in a few months going, "Why did we loan out Cuadrado?"
Well, they've got to realise.
I'm not saying us will be saying that, but I know people will be saying that, and I think people who played it it's like the same where people. I mean, I rated Cuadrado because I thought that he could come in, do a job, add another element and a change of style to Willian, but you've got to look realistically. Looking back on it, Fiorentina played completely different to Chelsea. Also, the Italian league is so slow, so slow, and
Agreed.
it doesn't get much of a physical challenge, and the pace is just so different. I feel sorry for Juan Cuadrado, a bit like Victor Moses. I've said on here before that I think it's so difficult for a player. It's literally impossible for a player to come in January, because if they don't make an impact straight away, then they're a flop. And I'm not saying that Cuadrado has literally, because you see Pedro came in the other day, last night, and he set the world alight starting that game, and but it's a shame for Cuadrado. But I'm sure some players like Mo Salah, like Cuadrado, are just not made for the Premier League. Just for some reason, just struggle against League One sides in our country, but can play at the top tier of another country. But that's the way it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's be honest here, boys. Italian football, unless it's Juventus, is a lot weaker. Oh, let's put Roma in there as well, I guess. But the other teams in the league is nowhere near as strong as English football. And I just like you're saying, it's easy to make it in that sort of league.
Kevin De Bruyne, you mentioned Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, that deal's not done yet, then, is it, Man City? Because I heard something about Bayern Munich.
No, I've read that the deal is pretty much done. He's agreed personal terms, but obviously the two clubs haven't agreed a fee yet. But I think that deal is pretty much over the line. And whether 98 million, I guess it is, because they're two 49 million deals, is really worth it for those two players. I mean, De Bruyne's going to have the issue where he's not going to start every week again, isn't he? Let's be honest here. He was moaning and raving about it at Chelsea. He's not going to get a different treatment at City. You've got David Silva who fills his slot, and players, and Yaya Toure and all these sort of players. But let's get back to some other questions quickly. Let's have a see if we can find any.
It's mainly Gooners, isn't it? Really, they're probably waiting for their uploads to come up on Arsenal fans channel. They'd be offering it. They'd be about 10-15 minutes. They'd be up, Arsenal boys.
There's a question here from Inzi R that says play Matic and Oscar and Willian as Cam and bench Fabregas.
I think that's a good call for a short time, isn't it? At the minute, Fabregas is not on point, is he?
Only problem is Oscar's injured at the moment, and we don't know when he's going back. So,
what do you boys make of this whole Neymar situation with Man United?
I think it's a load of tosh. I don't think it's going to happen.
It's outrageous money, isn't it?
I think there's definitely been an opinion, an interest, from United. United know they have to do something now. I think it's a bit like the Arsenal situation. I think United now missing out on Pedro know they have to make up for it. Even if they stay, they'll come out and they'll put Van Gaal put a brave face on and say we didn't actually want him. If he says that, and as ludicrous as it sounds to all of us, he has to now deliver with another attacking option. Because if by this time next week, the transfer window will be over. So he has to get something done. So is it today or is it Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday next week?
Monday, I think.
So he has to probably get something done by next week. So it's interesting. I mean, this Neymar thing, they've expressed an interest. Right now, it looks unrealistic. You never know what can happen. Gareth Bale, when he went to Real Madrid, had an amazing first season. Scored in the Champions League final, scored in the Copa del Rey final, set at Real Madrid, and then the second season didn't play as well. What was it? Neymar's had about two full seasons at Barcelona now. They've both been kind of good. He's probably played better in the second season than he did in the first. But you never know. Players can be unsettled pretty quickly. Form can go out. Maybe an injury. Stuff can happen. So if Man United are expressing, it's the same with us with Pogba. As long as we are expressing an interest in him, for me, I know people want it done like that. But as long as I know that Chelsea are trying to get a player like Paul Pogba in the club, to me, I guess I can't really complain if there's if Juventus is just saying, nah, we ain't selling him at this point, whatever price, a bit like John Stones. I don't think we can complain as a fan base because Chelsea are actively trying to buy a player like Paul Pogba and slapping down apparently 8 million, and even if that's getting rejected, then we can't really complain. And it's the same with United. They're expressing interest in Neymar. And you never know, in 18 months' time, maybe there is a chance to sign Neymar.
Tony?
Well, I always thought we'd get Neymar, but back a few years back, he was earmarked to come to our place, wasn't he? But we were linked with loads of, like Silva, Aguero. They were all at one stage, linked with us. But I just think, I mean, we don't know what's true and what's not true. What we do know, right, okay, is £110,000 a week's not good enough. So, if we want to pay, let's just stump up the money, let's do the deal, and let's get it over the line. Sooner rather than later, please.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing. You know, we were talking about that centre attacking mid position, or if we needed to bring any more wide players. Do you Kalu? Does anyone think we'll bring back Thorgan Hazard? Do you think that'll ever happen?
No, I
We've got
don't
the
think
option, haven't we? Well, we have got the option though, haven't we?
Yeah. I mean, he's playing well at Mönchengladbach, isn't he?
I think with him, it's about what level he's actually going to reach as a player. He's obviously got potential. It'd be interesting to see. I think as a player, it won't even. I mean, players can develop quite quickly, but I think that he probably, and especially the position he plays at Chelsea, like the position he plays, I think he'll struggle to get into a Chelsea team. Chelsea are going to want, like, Oscar could have an amazing season this year. I think anyone really struggled to get in front of Oscar on his day, so I think it'll be difficult. Of course, I'd love to see both Hazards in the same team, but I think it'll be a struggle, and I think Thorgan Hazard's probably level isn't Chelsea, but it'll be interesting to see. I think his level isn't like low. I'm talking like, it probably just is below that. Maybe like an Atletico Madrid, that sort of team, that sort of level, which is still a brilliant level. But I think for a club like Chelsea, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. But you can always hope. But I just think in the next few years, if Chelsea maybe bring in a player like Griezmann, maybe bring in a player like Oscar developing as a player, I think even Pogba, as we talked about, I think it's going to be more difficult for a player like Thorgan Hazard to get into the team. So it'd be interesting.
Just say how he develops. If we got the buyback option, then it's the ball's in our court, isn't it? If he develops like you say, and I'm quite sure we'd take up that option, wouldn't we? I would have thought so.
Now speaking of Pogba, let's see if it doesn't work out. Do you think Ruben Loftus-Cheek could fit in that squad role? I mean, we all know it'll please Big Tom, but do you think he'll get to that a level quickly enough to sort of play that role?
I think.
Come on, Dan, you go.
I think it's. I think I've said on here before. I think it's just about giving him as much game time as possible. I think this season's got to be played more. Then we'll know. I think by the end of the season, if he keeps on bringing in the performances that he did for the short time he was given at the end of last season, then I can only really see good things for him. Obviously, bringing in a player like Pogba will really harm his chances of getting game time, which would be disappointing. But all he's got to do, I guess, is put his head down and kind of work as hard as possible. I kind of hope that Loftus-Cheek will be the one to come through. I just have a feeling that maybe he can be that player, especially based on the fact, I know that people may think this means absolutely nothing, but I was quite intrigued by when Loftus-Cheek was involved in all of the kit promotion. If you remember when that all came out, he was one of the players picked for the kit promotion, and that may not mean a lot to some people, and it may turn out to have absolutely no significance. But to me, if they're promoting a player like Ruben Loftus-Cheek in all the promotional material for a kit, that to me shows that they obviously he could become a key player. I mean, he was getting quite excited on Instagram before the game on Sunday. Of course, he was on the bench, but I mean, at times like yesterday, I thought you could take Cesc Fabregas on and put Loftus-Cheek, and he wouldn't have done a worse job than Cesc Fabregas. At times I was thinking that yesterday. So Loftus-Cheek, I just hope he gets chances. Hope he continues to develop. The only way he's going to develop to a level that we want is by playing him in the first team. And Jose's got to be brave enough to put him in situations like he's a first name on the team sheet for a League Cup game, first name on the team sheet for an FA Cup game, first name in the squad within certain Premier League games, and playing him when we're 2 or 3-0 up, you've got to take those chances. Just give him as much game time as possible. They're not overplaying him to the point where just being. But then I've seen Liverpool tonight put on Rossiter, and that's his debut, and he did a fine job, and I think Brendan Rodgers will continue to play him probably. So
I'll just say something. Someone's just put here, Tony. Did you see Arsenal's atmosphere tonight? Liverpool didn't even have to make a song to outsing them. Is it really that bad then? Yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the game, but I can imagine.
They only sung about one song all night.
Arsenal.
Yeah, that was about it. That was about it.
Literally, you know.
Joe,
I mean,
also as well, I'm just reading a lot of the comments while I was listening to you two there. You know, there's a lot of Chelsea fans out there. Listen, you don't have to explain yourself, yeah, when you started supporting Chelsea, this, that, and the other. Listen, it don't matter whether you're a Chelsea fan for one day or someone like me, you know what I mean, like 30 odd years and that. It don't matter. You're Chelsea. End of. Don't explain yourself, Chelsea. You know.
yeah, like we were saying in
It's
our
only,
6K video, we are all a big family here, so you know,
it annoys
no
me that
need to
does. You
be.
know what? How long have you been supporting the club? You know. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just does my head in.
Mm,
Every club, right, has got supporters that have come on in the last year, 2 years, 3 years. It doesn't matter. You're Chelsea fans, and that's it. End of.
mm,
It does my head in, though. You don't have to explain yourself, you know, to nobody, you know.
mm. Well, you know, because we've sort of clarified transfers for us today. There's not been a lot going on, has there? There was a few people that I know Tony wanted to sort of, you know, talk about in the previous video.
Oh,
So,
what? Really read that list?
I'm guessing we all have to have somebody.
I'll just
you know,
sit back then. I'll just chill for a minute.
Has Daniel not got anybody? You know, just sort of. I mean, because we're all grateful to you guys, but you know.
No, I'll tell you what I did do. I'll tell you what I did do, Louis. Right. I took on board actually what that gentleman said about the comments, yeah. And he's got a point, mate. You know, and the video that I put up before we done the the 6,000 one, all of us together.
Yeah.
But what I did was I done a reply to every single one, like, you know. Because I thought it was warranted. You know what I mean? And I think he's got a point. So someone's got to take on board that job. You know.
So
you know.
Okay. So Tony.
Well, without boring the whatever's off you, Aaron Raghaven, as we've mentioned, Super Frankie Lampard, Babka Nagda, Rayan, Dota. Sorry, if I pronounced them wrong, Dotan Fatoki, Chelsea fan, Nitish Chauhan, Bada Apakara.
Yeah, Bada.
Leonie, actually, he's quality, he is, and Sam Cooper, Luke Taylor, Vincent Clark, Philippe McCleary, Adam Marshall, Lewis Wright, all things CFC, CG, Jeremy Artist, George Romeo, and a little young lad called Alberto Ferreira, who, to tell you the truth, right, started my very first vid. You know, he was going, you've got to keep doing it, Tony, you've got to keep doing it. Big up to him as well, you know, and there's loads of other people out there, but I'm really chuffed, you know, and I know everyone that's obviously, put the stuff down, so I'm really chuffed with that, you know, thank you. And anyone I haven't mentioned, yeah, like I said, you know, thank you very much.
Well, we've got some breaking here.
Ray, have you seen it? Ray, Chelsea ready with £72 million Pogba.
Interesting. It could work out quite well for us. Get your two views on it then. 72 million for Pogba. Yay or nay?
Well, again, I don't think it's enough.
You don't think it's enough?
No.
Okay.
Look, I think, right, I think that we're talking middle 80s, something like that, yeah? And I think that's where we got to be. You know, if we're really serious about it, you know? I guess it's the same sort of situation with Stones. We know that, you know, we all said that perhaps 35 would be the magic number, didn't we? Or 34, 35, but it doesn't seem to be the case. But maybe 40 million, maybe in the back of their minds. You can't turn around and say they've never actually sat down and thought about it, the Everton board. They must at some point have gone, look, I'll tell you the truth, if we get 40, are we going to take it, you know? Maybe there's got to be a figure, isn't there, do you know? It's quite a massive amount. And I'm not saying the amount there for Pogba's not sufficient, but I think you're going to have to be in the 80s if you're serious and landing him. And the personal deal's got to be spot on.
Do you agree with that, Daniel?
We need him, mate. We need him.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I know Tony's well on, like, signing Pogba, as I'm sure we all are. I think signing Pogba would be absolutely amazing. It's just, as I said in like one of my last answers, I thought that just the club expressing an interest. It'd be interesting to see how that interest, how far it actually goes. But at first it was like, who's actually saying it that's reliable? I think we've got more reliable sources that have come out and said that Chelsea are actually interested in. So I mean, we'll have to see what happens with Paul Pogba. I'll just stick to what I'm saying. I think Chelsea wanting to sign a player like him, and it's not just transfer rumours, it's not just us making up rumours and hoping for the best. It's actually Chelsea want a player like Pogba because they can see that it will absolutely not only
Transform us.
change our team, it will transform us into a team.
I don't think people realise, you know, I mean, we automatically jump a level, and it's because of the shuffle of the players, yeah, as well. You know, one bit of magic, all of a sudden you've got it. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle. Click, 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 click. You know.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's like you know, Bale. I said that, you know, in the close season, Gareth Bale. Bale goes in there and it automatically all shuffle rounds, which means that someone gets rest or you can accommodate injuries or suspensions.
Well,
you know, one bit of magic.
I guess that's the situation with Pedro as well then. Well, Pedro, if we don't sign Pogba, Pedro is that, you know, I think just from West Brom, he's that one player that can change our team. Let's be honest.
But we've got to get the back line right, mate. The back line's all over the place.
It is. And
Fabregas has got to sort himself. I mean, you know, but maybe Fabregas is playing in that pit in the park where, you know, there's that. I think we're too deep as a team, you know. I want us pushed up, mate, you know. Mm-hmm. So we need to have this conversation about Terry soon when Eunice comes back, and you know.
I mean, I saw a comment earlier. I'm sorry, I didn't see who it was, but you know, he was saying if we bring in Stones, because we already have Zuma, Terry, and Cahill, who do you think over the next 2 years, basically by the end of next season, maybe, would be, you know, the starting centre back pairing?
What if Stones is with us?
If Stones does come in, yes.
Zuma, Stones.
Definitely by the end.
That'd be my two.
Straight from now, or would you do it from now?
I don't want to get into that. We'll wait for that one. Don't start on me, Louis.
All right, okay.
We've got to wait for Eunice to come in on that one.
Yeah, you'll save your rant for another day.
I'll explain to you why as well, you know, and you know.
Yeah.
I've had enough of watching. I want us pushed up. I don't want my wing backs tucked in. I want to, you know, listen. We've got players that can kill the opposition. You know, let's. I'm sick of playing the ball backwards across the back. I'm sick of losing half a game of football where it's, you know, we've not even got into gear.
Well, it's a case of, you know, last season there was that, wasn't there? You know, we wouldn't get into gear until the second half. But, you know, once we played in the second half, we got into gear. You know, we started playing well. I mean, if it's working, we can't moan. If it's not working,
you can play good football and still win the league, mate.
Oh yeah, we can. But you know, getting a result is sort of what Mourinho does, isn't it? It's not play with lots of flair. You know, if you don't get a result. I mean, he's not like Manuel Pellegrini who was saying he'd rather lose 5-4 than win 1-0, which is just ludicrous. Where, you know, you'd win 3-0, wouldn't get 3 points. But you know, it's I think. I understand what you're saying, Tom, about sort of, you know, the whole sort of, you know, you want to see us play more attractive football. I think against teams lower in the division, we can do that and we should do that. I mean, we did play relatively attractive football against West Brom yesterday, didn't we? From what I saw, I thought it was, you know, it was pretty decent football.
Watching Pedro is not boring. Watching what Pedro did was not boring.
Absolutely.
Watching that game yesterday was not boring. Trust me.
So yeah, we'll see what he's like against Palace on Sunday.
Can I just go on that point? With, like, the 2 points Tony made about like the. Did you say that? No, not on Pogba. Not about. Would you like replace John Terry and Gary Cahill this season?
Oh right, yeah.
Okay, so I completely disagree about replacing John Terry. You know, I think I'll defend. I think I said. Did I say this earlier? I'm not entirely sure, but I think that I've said this a few times since the game yesterday. I don't think you can blame John Terry for that red card, simply because says Fabregas, like if anyone was watching that game, says Fabregas was key in exactly why John Terry had to take Rondon down. We were literally pressing West Brom in at that point. I think Myhill took a goal kick that landed to Cesc Fabregas. So Fabregas was too slow on the ball, like he was on all day. Loses it in a bad position, goes backwards, losing it in a bad position. They have the chance to counter. I think it was McArthur who put in a nice ball through to Rondon. Terry has to take him out, and I heard someone behind me in hindsight going, "Whoa, you should have let him score." I'm sorry, if that was me, I'm still taking him out. You know, it's just something you do as a player. You just take him out. You know, like it'd be stupid. That's like, you know, I think it's easy in hindsight. John Terry, for me, we just can't. We don't lose him until he either cannot physically do it anymore or retires. For me, to have a player like John Terry and just not use him at all because you think, well, he's had a few 3 bad games, you know, for me is just absolutely ludicrous. You know, I think John Terry is the position in the structure he gives at the back. He is so key in what Chelsea do. And, you know, I think we've got to look at this as a team game. A lot of players in that team are not working. You can't blame Terry for Ivanovic not doing his job on the right wing, for Matic not doing his job in central midfield, for Fabregas being too slow on the ball. You can't blame John Terry for that, you know. And it's like Petr Cech. Yeah, Petr Cech is going to save a lot of points for Arsenal, but if his defence in front of him ain't helping him, you know, you can't blame him for not saving some of those goals. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? He's going to concede goals this year if that Arsenal defence continues to play like that. So that's like, so I think, and, you know, talk about attractive football. I like, and this is something that I think in football is like, you know, a lot of people, and it does annoy me because I think that when I go to Stamford Bridge and I see the likes of Eden Hazard, Diego Costa, now Pedro, Cesc Fabregas, and players like that play, to me it isn't boring. It's never boring watching my team play football. You know, it never is, and it's never boring watching them grind out a 1-0 win. You know, I think above all skill and flair, what I ask from players is dedication and effort. You know, like yesterday, we played absolutely shocking, but yesterday we were all coming out of that game going, well, that was a pretty good win, you know. So, you know,
I was exhausted. I was exhausted with that.
And you know, I think we've obviously in bad form. There's no denying that, and there are obviously players that are way out of form. And I'll put my hands up and say, like Ivanovic needs to be taken out of that team. I think Babarama needs to start. Azpilicueta needs to go over to the right. Hopefully Fabregas and Matic can both get back to form. So there's a lot of players out of form in key positions as well. So I think along with that, you know, I still would keep Terry in the team. And, you know, for me to just, like, after 3 games, when we had the best defence last season, the best defender in England, you know, just for me is ludicrous. And I think, you know, the people forget the sort of football we were playing at the start of last season with relatively the same players, you know, with a team that was just playing absolutely incredible football. And, you know, I think that to think that players like Fabregas, and just because they've had 3 bad games in a pretty, like, terrible pre-season, you know, not the best pre-season, you know, thinks that, well, they can't get back to that anymore, we must as well sell Fabregas, you know, to me is just...
That's ludicrous. That's ludicrous.
It's so reactionary in my opinion. I'm not saying, Tony, you're saying that, but I have seen it from certain people, not as extreme as sell Fabregas, but like just all this like, well, they're all crap now, so, you know, we must as well, you know, replace them with all players. Like, I think these players, give them a few weeks. I think I saw signs yesterday that there are positives. Pedro will obviously bring a lot to the team. I thought Hazard, Willie, and Azpilicueta. Zuma played well yesterday. Cahill, when he came on, played well. I think we've got to give some credit to Cahill. I thought he didn't let anything get past him yesterday in a game that we could have easily drew 3-3, you know.
I completely disagree. I disagree with that statement. I think Cahill, when JT came off, you just put Cahill in, you just noticed how shaky our defence is.
But we were down to 10 men, and we did have, once again, like I'm saying, Fabregas is in front of, like...
Daniel, you wouldn't change nothing about the back line and nothing.
No, I'm not saying I wouldn't. No, I'm not saying I'd keep it the same as yesterday. As I say, I'd change on Saturday, as we stand currently with the squad. I'd bring in Babar Rahman on the left wing, left back. I'd put Azpilicueta on the right back. I'd probably put Zuma alongside JT because I think Zuma's a better defender than Cahill, because I don't think Cahill offers the same as Zuma. If we're bringing in John Stones, over time, you bring in John Stones in front of JT, of course. I'm not replacing John Terry after three bad games. You know, like John Terry, it's different to Cahill. Like John Terry, for me, it's just ridiculous to want to replace a guy like that. And I think Zuma didn't put a foot, like, you know, for me, he played pretty well yesterday, you know, in a pretty, like, awful defense for most of the game, you know. So I'm not saying I wouldn't change anything. There's one player coming in right there, and there's two right now. I always want Zuma in front of Cahill, in my opinion, because I think Zuma's a better defender. I think he played better than Cahill. He's in better form. You know, so I'd change something about that defense, but I wouldn't wholesale like take John Terry out of that team. I want to, like, to the comments as well, would you seriously right now take John Terry out of our team and bring in a player like John Stones, who we all want, and just put him in there straight away and say, all right, John Terry, yeah, you can sit on the bench because, you know,
no. But why are we buying John Stones? Why are we after John Stones? Why are we after Varane?
Because you're bringing in John. This is what I've said before.
He's already playing though, isn't he? First team football.
Bringing in John Stones.
What's he going to come to us then and then sit on the bench? He's playing first team football.
Probably
right
John Stones, if we are going to sign him, would probably play alongside John Terry. He probably would, looking at the form of our defence.
So we drop Gary Cahill and Zuma don't get a chance. I think Zuma's class.
I think Zuma's class as well, but this is the conundrum you have, like, and as well, it's like.
So we don't need a centre half then, and then if we're going to play it the way you want, we don't need a centre half.
I think. Personally, I think it's a case of maybe it is a difficult scenario where I honestly think if we bring in John Stones and the way Zuma's playing at the minute, I don't think Cahill will get a look in unless JT dramatically drops his form from, you know, what he can do. But yeah, as it stands, you know.
But the thing is, if we think Terry's going to go on for the rest of this season and for the whole of next, just saying, why the hell are we even bothering with Stones? Why have we just spent the last 3 weeks trying to negotiate a deal with Everton for Stones? Because Zuma's ready. We all agree Zuma's ready.
Oh yeah, Zuma is.
We've got Cahill there, and by the way, we've got Ivanovic. So why do we even need a centre half?
Yeah, I
we obviously do. Mourinho thinks
we do. I mean, back from shaky.
This is why it's an emotive one, and maybe it's best for another day, because I know exactly where you're coming from, Dan, yeah? Right? John Terry's class, yeah? And his positional sense and everything about him. He's Mr. Chelsea. We all love him. You know, you even feel a bit bad even having this conversation, right? But at some point, we've got to have that conversation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, like,
I'm not saying we can never. If we buy John Stones for 40 million, say we go the whole hog and we do 40 million on Stones, what, we're going to have a 40 million pound player on the bench?
I don't think you'd see him absolutely be on the bench every game, but I mean, I think I saw a comment in which I agree with, and there's like, this is where I'm thinking, we're buying John Stones long term, and I know people look at that price tag and think, well, it can't be long term. He has to start, and I don't think he'd literally sit on the bench the whole season. That'd be absolutely ridiculous. Why would we pay him 40 million? But he is a long term signing, and that's what I think people don't really like. Do you know what I mean? Like you're bringing him in, and he will play a load of games, but he ain't playing every game. I'd probably start him, you know, and it probably would be a case where, and there's got to be a transition period. You know, when you're changing things around in defence. Last season, we very rarely changed things in defence. You know, Zuma would come in, and luckily Zuma fitted in straight away. What if John Stones come in, doesn't fit in straight away? You know, these are questions that have to be asked.
The thing about Zuma, though, right, is if the ball's gone past him or someone's gone past him, he's caught him. You know, within seconds, he's caught him. This is the beauty of Zuma. I mean, he's got so much speed and strength, and he's young, you know, and he's fearless, absolutely fearless. For me, I'd start Zuma every game.
I would as well. I'd agree to play Zuma currently. I'd play Zuma.
And here's the kicker: because I'm emotionally attached, I'd play John Terry.
I would. I think personally, I've been saying it for a while.
You take that emotion away.
But I just saw a comment right now. Who put it? Someone said, I think it's PS. I think is his name. JT cannot play the high line we are doing now. Why can't? I think he's saying why can't I understand that? I think number one, why are we playing a highlight? I actually don't think we're playing a highlight at the moment. You compare it to AVB. Naturally, we don't play a highlight.
A lot of people are saying that we are, though. You know,
we've clearly got it wrong at City. Yeah, we played for some reason. We decided to play a highline. Don't know why. And Jose's got it spot on the past 2 years. He brought in Matic to help protect JT, and also didn't play a high line. And yeah, I know we want to play this kind of attractive kind of style of football, but you've got to adjust your tactics. If you want to keep John Terry in the team like I do, then you adjust your tactics not to play that high line. Of course, if we start playing a high line, then JT obviously isn't fitting into that system. So you've got to unfortunately, like, you've got to take him out of that system.
But then the players that we really want to go and kill the opposition are having to track back, and this is the problem. And then you've got the gaping hole in the middle. You know, this is why I wanted it for another day, because I personally feel we've got players that should be able to kill the opposition. You know, listen, if we got Pogba sitting there, I mean, I'm just saying, yeah, if we got Pogba there and Matic, yeah. And then we've got options with William or Fabregas. We've got Pedro, we've got Hazard, we've got, you know, that's good enough to take out most teams, if not all. And I'd rather be you know, basically, you know, applying ourselves as opposed to. You do have to make allowances with a slightly aging back line.
I know, man. It's just so hard to tell.
It's that ball over the top. He's got no speed. I mean, he'd be the first to admit that. Positional, you know, strength, fantastic. You know, listen, you know, he's a warrior, isn't he? We love him. I love him. You know, we all love him. He's Mr. Chelsea. You know, and listen, I'm feeling bad just having this chat. We'll keep him for another 2 years. I love him.
Well, let's move away from that. If it's going to make if it's going to make Tony Kroos move away, I mean,
no, but it's true though, isn't it? You've got at some point, you know, it's a realization that you've got to face up to this, yeah. You know, and we've all agreed, right, that we all agree that Zuma should be playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
After that performance against West Brom, I'd start him.
There's one more position left.
And that's the other centre back. Hold on, what we talk about back line?
Oh, okay, so let's say you buy Stones. You've got Stones, Terry, and you've got Cahill.
Right now, I would start. I'd start Terry as much as he is physically able, just to sort of. So no. But this isn't emotional attachment. This isn't emotional attachment. This is like general, just thinking about it. Because if you sat next to John Terry, who is arguably the best centre back to grace the Premier League, if you put him or Stones or Zuma next to him, they're going to learn a lot. You're going to have the same sort of scenario, you know, where you had Desai was teaching Terry for it, wasn't he? Like you have Terry be sort of mentoring someone like Stones or Zuma.
That's the thing with it was a brilliant quote by Alan Shearer on Match of the Day when I think it was the first match of the day of the season, and he said that he was saying something along the lines of, and it was a brilliant quote actually. I remember what he said about John Stones to Chelsea, and he says everyone's saying that he shouldn't go to Chelsea, and he said I'm going to give you 2 reasons why he should go to Chelsea. Number 1, he'd be playing under the best manager in the Premier League, and number 2, he'd be watching, learning, and playing with the best centre half the Premier League has ever seen, and that overall will improve him as a player. And I completely 100% agree with that.
I agree.
It's so tough having this conversation about John Terry. I don't make my assumptions on players about their careers.
So what do you think? What do you think about Ivanovic at centre back?
I'm not on his current form. I still wouldn't play him at centre back. I play Zuma at centre back. But then again, I mean, maybe you play Ivanovic at centre back, but then you have the same problem as you're saying with John Terry. Ivanovic doesn't really have as much pace anymore. We can clearly see that he gets on that right side by anyone with pace. And you know, I think that putting Ivanovic there and John Terry, then you're going to have that same problem of no pace at the back. So at least if you've got Zuma, I think what Zuma did brilliantly last year whenever he came in, and I think he actually done this. You look at their goal. Of course, their second goal came after John Terry went off. Their first goal came because of Ivanovic not closing down. I think it was MacArthur who got the ball in. For Morrison, the goal they got back in the first half. It wasn't a case where it was a ball over the top that caught John Terry out. Like, very rarely that actually happens, in truth. If you look at the goals we conceded this season, that actually hasn't happened this season. I remember one goal last season when that happened, Mane, Southampton, where a ball got flicked over and Mane ran through and scored. And that probably would have happened if John Terry hadn't taken out Rondon. That probably would have happened yesterday as well. And I thought what Zuma done with John Terry brilliantly, and that combination was Zuma could handle the pace. So you'd have John Terry, he'd be leading the line, he knew where he was supposed to be, but Zuma could help with that pace side of the game. He was catching up to Raheem Sterling, he was catching up to Sergio Aguero, he was catching up to players who John Terry couldn't catch up to. So it was a nice combination there, and it was a nice balance. That's what I love about Chelsea. Well, the team that Jose has created in the past 2 years. There's a lot of balance in the team.
So what you're saying then, right, is Cahill's surplus to requirements. Zuma plays. We give Mr. Chelsea this year where he how can I put develops Stones, yeah. And so Stones, the following season. So this is his last year then?
I wouldn't say it's his last year, but I'd say it's his last.
Maybe his last season.
Stones not going to wait 2 years.
No, probably his last year thinking he's going to be a starter, probably. And I think if John Stones come in, there's going to be a load of transition. You may see, as I was saying, you're going to see different combinations at the back. You're going to see Terry and Stones. You're going to see Zuma and Stones maybe on some games. You're going to see. Different combinations of
look at this, right?
Events.
Chelsea boy 3-1-1-2. Protecting Terry means Azpilicueta cannot go forward and overlap Hazard. If we play Baba and Davis fullbacks, then we cannot protect Terry.
Point.
True, good point.
Again, you want them overlapping. That's the whole point. We want to impose our strength on the opposition. If you're always tracking back and covering and making allowances, again, like I said, it's too emotive. But maybe maybe it's one for another day.
Yeah. So let's move on from that. I've literally just got a text from Eunice.
Yeah, I've got the same one. Yeah.
Message from me to everyone watching. Up the Blues. We're the best. Mourinho's a special one. We will get Pogba. We will conquer Europe. Only kidding. Not yet. But we will eventually. Winky face. Up the Chelsea. It's great to be working alongside someone like Eunice. And, it's great to be working alongside you guys. I said that. I'm not going to start blubbing again. But, we're grateful to you guys for helping us get to that 6,000. And
what do we make of Arsenal and Benzema now? It's all over, isn't it? Benzema for Arsenal.
That's done. That's at. Nah. They need a centre forward. Giroud was a lamppost, like we said. It's like in the famous words of Suggs. If you look it up, there's a song called "Love Struck" by Madness, and this is what Arsenal fans would be singing about Giroud. It's called "Love Struck." I'm falling for a lamppost, and if you just listen to the lyrics, and you sort of try and connect it to Giroud, it's quite funny. You might quite like it. But sorry, Tony, I didn't mean to cut you off, mate. What were you going to say?
No, it's all right, mate. I mean, they've played 2 at home now, haven't they? They've only got a point, Arsenal. So they're on the same points as us now, aren't they?
I believe so. Yes. Hold on, let me just check for you.
Just see that Trevor Sinclair, that BBC pundit. He's completely written us off, isn't he? He says it's going to be the titles between Man City and Arsenal.
No one likes Chelsea apart from Alan Shearer on Match Day. Let's be honest. Alan Shearer is the only one who likes us, and we love you for that, Alan. Even if you are a Geordie, we don't usually get good results when we go up there. But you know what? Thank you very much, mate. But let's do a quick look at the Premier League table and sort of where we stand after 3 games now. So obviously, you have Manchester City top, you have Leicester, Liverpool, Man United, Palace.
What's the points?
Okay, Man City have 9, Leicester have 7, Liverpool have 7, Man United have 7, Palace have 6, Swansea have 5, Everton have 4, Norwich have 4, Arsenal have 4, and Chelsea have 4. So we won't look any further down from there because that's sort of where we're okay. But they've got 1 better goal difference than us, which is all there.
Who have Arsenal got next week? Because obviously they're away, aren't they?
Arsenal have. Newcastle away. So after the way Newcastle
that's
performed today, that might be a difficult game. It might be for them. But the fact we're playing Palace, who are playing quite well at the minute, if you ask me,
Yeah.
That. I mean, what would I know we'll speak more about it close to the time, but if Stones comes in before Palace, so in the next 2 days he comes in, would you start him against Crystal Palace with Zuma because JT's out?
Well, I don't think it'll happen, and I think John Terry will. I think you're right. I think that's I think that's obviously maybe it's even a gentleman's agreement with John Terry. Maybe they said, look, because obviously they're going to talk to him or consult with him, aren't they? Especially when it's no secret we're after a centre half, a young one at that, and one that we rate very highly and prepared to pay a lot of money for. I'm sure they've consulted with John Terry and said, look, don't worry, listen, this is what we want. I don't know. But no, in answer to your question, I think Terry will play. Probably with Cahill.
Terry can't start. He got a red card, remember?
Oh no, sorry, not Terry. Yeah, that's right. No, it'd be Cahill and Zuma, wouldn't
it? So that's the starting centre back. Yeah. So that's sort of settled that. Those are the two centre backs sort of for the next game. Maybe I don't know. Is it because of professional foul? It's one game, isn't it? Not three.
It's one game, yeah.
Okay, so he's out for one game and then he comes back against, who are we playing after Palace?
Everton.
We didn't make an appeal, did we? We didn't make an appeal, did we?
No.
Someone said it was 2 games. I saw someone saying it was 2 games, which is weird. It would probably be back. I don't know. I think he'd be out for maybe Everton, but if they're not going to appeal, then it could be 3. I don't know. Because it's the same as Courtois, wouldn't it? It'd be the same as Courtois' offence, and that was 3, and then Chelsea appealed, and they brought it down to 1. So I guess it is 3. I don't know. Someone in the comments tell me if it is 3.
No, it's 1, isn't
it? Well, let's get some more comments. Hussein Shehab, I'm sorry if I get your name wrong, mate. Shehab, watching from Boston, Chelsea till I die. Let's open the wallet and make Everton an offer they can't refuse. We seriously need Stones, and it's not even funny how much we do.
Is that Boston in the USA or Boston, Lincolnshire, England?
Boston, USA, I think.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, so that sort of agrees off. Hold on, let's just have a look. I was absolutely baffled when people rated Clown FC as title contenders. I've always said that as long as Wenger is in charge, Arsenal will never win the league again. Agree? Disagree? Middle ground, boys?
Wow. Who said that?
It was Clone Trooper Commander Doom. What a name.
Wow. Listen, I'm not going back on what I said, Joe. I'll be an absolute hypocrite. I said that Arsenal will be our main challengers, and I'll stick with it. Yeah, it's like, look, we're not a bad side, and yet where are we? 10th, 9th at the moment? We're the champions. It's too early to say, everyone's getting too carried away. The funny thing is, like, I think Man City, I looked at the odds, City is 6-5, and we've gone out to 3-1. 3 games. What happens, right, if Yaya Toure gets injured, or Silva, or Aguero, or and key players? I mean, it's just everyone's getting a little bit too carried away. It's 3 games. It's a hell of a long way to go. It's
I agree.
It's silly, isn't it? No, I mean, Arsenal haven't become a bad side, have they? And I still think there's a signing in them. Before, like I've always felt there'd be a big one for us at the end. I think they've got a bit of an history, haven't they, doing a lastminute.com one, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. I mean, but don't get me wrong, Everton are a good club for bringing players up, but they always struggle to keep them, don't they? So I do think we'll get our man eventually. I mean, there's proof.
Stones we're talking about now, are we?
Yeah. Is that who we're talking about? I'm very confused. Are we still talking about Stones?
No, I'm just saying. And we were talking about Arsenal there, weren't we? And I personally, I think they will come in with a late one, just like us.
Yeah.
It's no secret they're after a striker. All right, they've had a bit of a knockback now with Benzema, but
Well,
I see him. They won't just stand still, will they? They'll I'm sure they'll have something in their locker. You know, like I said, they do like a last minute one. You know.
Well, you know, yeah. So I'm just
I
looking.
think you've got to give it really, haven't you? 12, about 10 or 12 games, haven't you? And then it sort of
Yeah. No,
settles.
I always make the judgment at Christmas personally. You know, that's when. I mean, I stand by what I said as well. But you know, it sort of has changed a bit after City's start. You know, they came out of the blocks like we did. But we need to sort of see what will happen around Christmas. Christmas is when you can sort of make the judgment of what's going to happen at the top half of the table. So I think until
they're definitely on it though, aren't they, Man City? You know, they're definitely. You know, you can tell the preparation's good. You know, they're right on it. You know, they're obviously spending big. They're saying the right stuff. You know, they've just extended the stadium now, and you know, so they're definitely. You know, they're going to be. You know, man, perhaps we've got that one wrong. You know, but only time will tell, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can't start dropping and changing, can you? Say, oh, I said Arsenal be our main challengers, so it'd be.
Yeah. Daniel?
I'd be a hypocrite.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not entirely sure on Arsenal. I mean, I don't think I ever went out and said that Arsenal were going to be our. I thought they would be one of our main challengers because I think this season was going to be a lot tighter. So I thought there'd be one or two. I think to say that this would be one of our biggest. I think it's going to be a bit like 2 seasons ago. So to say there's this one big challenger, I think is. I think it'd be a lot tighter than that. Yeah, I think making a judgment over 3 games, and even after 4 games, I think you know you can maybe reassess after 4 games, but it's just too early for me. I think Christmas, mid-November, early December, then you can maybe make a little bit of a judgment. A lot can happen. I think you look at Arsenal's squad. I think they desperately need a striker. Giroud will get his 22 goals this season. It's not entirely a question if he'll get those goals. It's where the problem is where he gets those goals. It's in games like tonight where it's a tight game. Sure, it's early on in the season. We've dropped points, so maybe these points tonight won't make a difference. But I think tonight proved, even when they brought on Theo Walcott, you know, they still struggled. You know, and I think in these big games, you're only going to get 1 or 2 chances. Olivier Giroud, with the sort of football Arsenal play, gets 3 or 4 chances, even more against lower opposition teams. So he's a good enough striker that he'll find the goal eventually. He'll probably score on Saturday against Newcastle because he'll get more chances, he'll get more space. But against top teams, you're not going to get that sort of space. You're going to get 1 or 2 chances, like we saw against City when we got beat. Hazard, that's one chance during the game. That was the one clear-cut chance you could say we played bad, but that's the one chance we had all game, didn't take it, and that's usually what happens in these big games. Sometimes it's a little bit different, but that's mostly the case in tight games. I think Arsenal as well, their injury record, I think, seriously hits them. I think it's down to Wenger. I think a lot of what goes wrong at Arsenal is down to Wenger. I think, you know, I hear Arsenal fans claim that their injury record recently is down to bad luck. It's not down to bad luck. No club gets that amount of bad luck with injuries. You know, it just cannot happen. And you know, there's a lot of stats. I know there's a guy I follow on Twitter, an Arsenal fan called LeGrove. He's a blogger for Arsenal, and he's really good with all that stuff. He's very in with knowledge about Arsenal, and he's talked about it in the past. Like Arsene Wenger trains his players and thinks about his players and thinks about the way he wants to play football like he did 10 years ago, you know, and it's not the same anymore. Players are different, and he wants to play his best team every single game, and he trains his players hard and wants them to play hard as well. And you know, eventually you're going to get injuries, and I think that's going to be a key factor as well. Arsenal always lose 2 or 3 players, and you know, you saw tonight when they lost their 2 centre backs. They look shaky at the back, and you know, they were lucky they had Petr Cech this year, who's going to save them points. But I think also they need a defensive midfielder, and I don't know why. Because I think I was just thinking, you know,
as a friend of mine who's a Gooner has just sent me a text, and he says, "Listen, mate, we'll go and get Witsel."
But I think, you know, I think the thing is with Arsenal, if they looking at it from a unbiased point of view, I think if you could see a team where, you know, you have the team currently, and you can maybe get a Witsel, get another defender, maybe get Lars Bender, and then you put him next to Coquelin in midfield. Push Cazorla up to number 10. Have Sanchez on one wing. Have Chamberlain on the right. Have a good quality striker up front. You know, that's a good looking team. I know people say Ozil, but calm, mate. I mean, Ozil, Coutinho is way better than Ozil, and you know, tonight, if anything more, like, you know, tonight proved that, you know, for me. And you know, Coutinho wasn't even playing in his. I think he was playing number 10 because it came out that he was playing in the left wing. Coutinho absolutely did what Ozil should be doing. And you know, people tell me that Ozil, well, he isn't this sort of player that dominates games. If you're paying £42 million for a player who doesn't dominate games, and you're playing for a player that barely does anything in big games, then for me it's just a waste of time. You put Cazorla out there, who was deeper tonight and did more than Ozil did in the entire game. You know, and Cazorla didn't have one of his better games. So for me, you put Cazorla in that number 10 position because I think he can do more damage. But I know there's Arsenal fans in the comments who probably disagree with me on the Ozil thing, but I think they need a little bit more balance in midfield because I think Coquelin on his own still is a bit like he needs some cover with him, I think.
I agree. I completely agree with that.
Just see them comments there. Clone Trooper Commander Doom. By the way, the Mirror claims that Chelsea have reached an agreement with the FA about Wembley at $12 million a year.
That's not bad. That's good. That's a good deal, and I think we can fill it as well. I mean, I'm guessing we'll see what the outcome of that is, but that's starting to gather pace.
I know there's a restriction on capacity for Wembley, so I know we won't be able to like put. I think we could probably get 50 to 60 in there, definitely. The problem is when you have like a midweek. I was talking with my brother about this, and I was like, going, get a midweek League Cup game against Shrewsbury, and it's like, you know, is that Wembley really gonna be full? You know, that's the question. I mean, you get. I mean, it's just, and as well, it's gonna take the gloss off Wembley. It just will. But you know, what else are you gonna do? I mean, Twickenham isn't an option anymore. You know,
Twickenham was never an option for me. Never.
I mean, about a year. I know it wasn't the perfect option, but I know it was talked about a year ago. But you know, what are you going to do? I mean, it looks like Wembley is literally the only option we have. So, and I don't.
It's a residence, though, isn't it? It's a residence, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I think it'd be proper funny if we played. I know it's not a serious option. Funny if we played our games, home games. One half at Craven Cottage and the other half at Loftus Road.
That's good. That. I like that. Anyway, I think we'll wrap it up here today. That's all from us for Daily Blues tonight. Follow us all on Twitter. Tony is at Tony at 100% Chelsea. Daniel at the Son of Chelsea sorry. And me, I'm at Louis the Boogaloo. Subscribe to 100% Chelsea. Follow us on all the social media platforms. You know, thank you Arsenal for getting the draw today and not winning. That's brilliant. We'll up the Chelsea. Keep the blue flag flying high, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.